Hello everyone. Welcome to Unsarkari. So today we'll be taking up the newspaper for 8th February 2025. So over here we have the first article, Reform Mining Regulations to Secure Critical Mineral Stockpile. So the first article is talking about India facing challenges in developing and securing the critical mineral resources. And it is now time for reforming the regulation on mining and reconsidering of the auction mechanism for allocating mines. Now, when we talk about critical minerals, so they are basically those minerals which are essential for economic development and national security of a country. And they are important for India because they are the foundation of modern technology used in wide range of essential products. So they range from mobile phones to solar panels to electric vehicle batteries. And apart from that, they're also important energy transition vital in renewable energy technologies, which will be required to meet the net zero commitments of many countries around the world. And apart from that, they also help in self-reliance and it would reduce the import dependency as India is 100% import dependent on critical elements. Now, when we talk about initiatives taken by the government in the critical minerals, so we have the Ministry of Mines, which constituted a steering committee in 2011. So that was to review the status of availability of rare earth elements and energy critical elements. And there was a study which was titled Rare Earth and Energy Critical Minerals, which has talked about critical minerals being a roadmap and strategy for India and reviewed India's production, consumption, and reserves. So we also have Council on Energy, Environment and Water, which identifies 13 minerals which would become most critical by 2030. And we also have Geological Survey of India and Center for Social and Economic Progress. So even products which are based on new technology, they have great requirement when it comes to critical minerals than existing products. So that increases their demand. We have the next article, AI raise what India should do. So this article is talking about how India it can take up leadership role in the AI space and somewhere the global AI race, which has already begun. And in order to lead India, it needs to rapidly develop capabilities which would lead the next phase of the AI revolution. And we have already a force which is larger than many nations, entire tech sector, and even a 92% AI adoption rate among the enterprises. And if we look at the financial inclusion, also, you have a bank account penetration from 30% to over 80% in just a period of 7 years. And India is also handling 49% of the global real-time payments. So apart from that, India, it has created entirely new economic behaviors and possibilities. And this infrastructure has created a completely new generation of technology companies, which so we have an ecosystem which allows both public and private innovation to flourish. So India can take decisive steps which would help build and fortify the hardware backbone powering AI system. And it would also ensure that the delivery is unmatched and that would include having efficiency, reliability, and scale liability. And it is also important to have investments in the AI hardware that will lead to creation of jobs and would also attract significant capital while also sparking a ripple effect of innovation across industries. So basically, when it comes to the country, India, it can position itself as an indispensable partner in global supply chain and which would amplify the influence on the international stage. So in this article, we talk about the tropics exercise. So it's the Indian Navy's biennial Capestone Theatre level operation exercise, which is underway the Indian Ocean region. And this exercise is basically conducted biennially and witnessed just participation not only by all Indian Navy units, but also of Army, Air Force, and the Coast Guard assets. So why is it important, or what are the features of this exercise? So it witnesses the participation of approximately 70 Indian Navy ships, 6 submarines, and over 75 aircrafts. And as part of the exercise, also all surface combatants of the Indian Navy, including destroyers, frigates, and corvettes, as well as submarines and aircrafts, they are put through complex maritime operational deployments. And this overall exercise construct, including the coastal defense exercise, sea vigilant, and the amphibious exercise. So that is the AMFEX. And that is why it is important, because it witnesses all the three parts of the army. Then we have the next article, Technology and Challenge of Equitable Education. So this article is mainly highlighting how the 1990s and the early 2000s, they were the time when education activities were happening on a mass scale. And this was also a time when computers, mobile phones, and digital technology, they were making base, and it was a time of many possibilities and promises with digital solutions and as well as businesses. But when we talk about technology reaching all parts or technology reaching the rural parts, that happened after the COVID-19 pandemic struck. And if we compare it, so in 2018, there were nearly 90% of rural households who had simple mobile phones, and 36% had smartphones by 2022. So in those 4 years of time period when COVID struck, there was an increase in the smartphones, and even the proportion of the household with smartphones, it had risen to over 74%, and the percentage of children who have access to smartphones at home is also nearing the saturation. So when we talk about why is the ownership of smartphones important, so that is because it comes in use to supporting younger children to learn as in the advancing time. And even after the pandemic, virtual training sessions that had become common, and the digital skills that were learned during the pandemic, they have sustained. So over the past 30 years, we've seen the computer, internet, and mobile revolutions. And right now, we're actively, or what is in trend is the AI revolutions as well. So with every new wave of technology, we come with new ways or new talks of revolutionizing education with the technology. And even the ASER data, which is Annual Status of Education Report Survey, it shows the availability of individually owned smartphones is going to be less and less of a constraint. And even hardware is becoming easily available. And one of the barriers which was present in education was language. So that is also not a constraint anymore. And the problem that is we're currently facing is access to attendance in school, which is still a major issue in villages or the community. Since some children go to private schools, some to private government, and some do not do schooling at all. So that creates a chaotic situation at the level of village and also at the largest community level, which reflects in the quality of learning in schools. So the prediction that hardware and devices would become inexpensive, that has happened. But now is the need for having a higher order and bigger hardware is growing with the innovations of AI coming in. So basically, linking the education with the advancing technologies or with the advancing times is what the article is mainly highlighting, since we foster a large population. Then we have the next article also talking about the global AI conversations. So, with the ongoing changes and with the development of AI, so that includes chatbot, Gemini, ChatGPT, which are in trend right now. So AI is slowly but changing. So it's reshaping itself, and industries, economics, and geopolitical transcending national borders with data algorithms and variations flowing some across regions. And India right now has not even established a national AI safety institution. So this has been done by US, and they have the International Network of AI Safety Institute, which was inaugurated in San Francisco in 2024 November. And that marked a pivotal movement since in global efforts to regulate and secure the development of AI. And this network, it will go beyond fasting dialogue, which would play a pivotal role in developing and harmonizing the global standards. So AI transcend national borders, operating through the seamless flow of data, algorithms, and innovations across regions, and even effective governance of the transformative technology. It requires a collaborative approach to establish unified standards which promote safety, accountability, and innovation. So we must ensure that India's AI ecosystem, it remains secure, ethical, globally competitive, and it should be in national interest position in India as a responsible technology leader of the world stage. We should basically commit to safeguarding individual rights and advancing AI responsibly. So basically, India needs to create a national institute urgently and pitch it into the fray. And even intersection of AI and geopolitics is becoming ever more pronounced, which was seen in the recent proposals by the US to impose export control on the advanced AI software. And even AI strategic importance, which spans economic development, military applications, and cybersecurity, they are all areas of national priority in which we must ensure that our interests they are well protected. And positive engagement in global AI safety initiatives, they would basically help further enhancing India's ability to shape the equitable framework which would support global collaboration and transparency. So, in a world where AI is increasingly at the center of economic and geopolitical strategies, we must take an active role in shaping its future as well. Participation in global AI safety platforms, that is not just about securing the seat at the table, it is more about ensuring that global standards they reflect what India as a country prioritizes, its aspirations as well as its values. So this is what the article is highlighting how with the advancing time or with the advancing AI, we must not forget what we're standing for, what are the priorities. Next article, push for spending and investment, why RBI has cut the repo rate. So basically RBI reduced the repo rate. Repo rate is the rate at which RBI lends to other banks, and it has reduced it by 25 basis points. And this was the RBI's first repo rate cut in nearly 5 years. So the RBI expected a lower repo rate, which would help stimulate economic activities by making borrowing cheaper for individuals and business, and that would lead to encouraging spending and investment. So the rate cut can also help maintain price stability and would also support growth as inflation is within the RBI target range, which is 4% with the leeway of plus or minus 2%. And the reduction in the repo rate, it aligns India with the global economic trends as many central banks across the world have adopted accommodative monetary policy. So a lower repo rate also has several benefits. Basically, it can lead to a higher inflation since increased money supply and lower interest rate. It can drive up prices and it can reduce the interest earned on saving. So it would make it less attractive for individuals to understand the RBI's decision to cut the repo rate depending on various factors, including inflation, economic growth, and global economic trends. So, Indian economy, it has witnessed slowdown in the current fiscal with the consensus estimates of 6.4% GDP growth from 8.2% in financial year 2024. And even the retail inflation that is expected to be 4.2% in 2025-26, according to the RBI governor. So global prices of edible oils, they've also softened, which is positive for the domestic inflation trajectory. Donkey. So donkey is undocumented migrants who undertake various ways to reach the US via multiple countries. So this article is regarding the illegal donkey routes which are taken for reaching the US. And this has been utilized mostly by people from the states of Punjab and Haryana. And they're now finding takers from other states as well. So the government is engaging the US government to ensure the returning deportees which are not mistreated in any manner during the flight. And the first step is the most popular donkey route from India, which is to reach South American countries. So South American countries like Ecuador, Bolivia, Guyana, they have visa on arrival for Indian citizens and a migrant route, which also depends on the link that his agent has with the human trafficking network. So agents also arrange direct visa for Mexico from Dubai, and the undocumented migrants they undertake to reach the US via multiple countries like Mexico, and the risk is present at the every step. And even the 3,140 kilometers border which separates the US and Mexico, it has fencing, which the migrants jump across. And even after that, the fate mostly depends on US authorities to find them fit. So it is a huge level of risk, both to life and even to the governments, both the governments. Then we have the next article, budget beyond the tax break. So union budget, it has provided a massive rupees 1 lakh crore relief to income taxpayers with the hope that money left in their pocket that would boost consumption demand and it would also push the GDP growth rate above 6%. So even in an inspection of the budget numbers suggest that huge tax break, notwithstanding overall impact on growth, it can call for fiscal impulse on the union budget, which may be negative or at best neutral. So the idea is to understand the rate at which economy grew, both the overall GDP as well as the income expenditures of the average India end of the corporate sector, and compare it with the rate at which the union budget and its key components grow with the past 10 years. And India's annual GDP growth at 10% national term during this period, it decides the union budget at the rate at which government spending expanding was higher than the rate of nominal GDP growth, and even the data from the economic think tank Center for Monitoring the India's Economic shows. So the annual sales of non-financial companies which grew at a fee rate of 4.7%, less than half the rate of nominal GDP growth. And apart from that, even the spending on health and family welfare, it is even lower than it is on education. And the allocation to MG Narega, the rural employment program, even that has a trajectory similar to the allocation on health and expenditure towards providing food subsidy. So increased help during the pandemic, notwithstanding, has grown by only 5.5% annually. And allocation to capital expenditure shows why it is the hallmark of the Modi government and the chronically low levels of budget. Allocation, education, skill development, and health are a case in point, especially at a time when development and artificial intelligence is seen as potentially threatening to India's growth and job prospect. Then we have NSEFI, so that is National Solar Energy Federation of India, and we have achieved the 100 gigawatt installed solar capacity. So if we talk about NSEFI, so this has been India's leading renewable energy policy advocacy body for the past decade and is an umbrella organization which represents renewable energy companies that are active along the whole renewable energy value chain, comprising leading international, national, and regional companies, including developers, manufacturers, EPC contractors, installers, system integrators, small and medium enterprises. And this federation basically works in complementary manner with central and state government to achieve India's renewable target of 500 gigawatt by 2030, of which 100 gigawatt has already been achieved. And its efforts have culminated into making India solar a successful growth story, where India is today the fifth largest country when it comes to installed solar capacity. So we talk about the key initiatives. So that is the Indian Solar Rooftop Awareness Program called Ghar Ke Upar Solar is Super. This was today's awareness among the citizens about the solar panel. And we have India Agrivoltaics Alliance, which is an initiative aimed at increasing awareness and promoting collocation of solar energy and agriculture in India. Then we have Women in Solar Energy, which is to empower women in the renewable energy sector, and Green Data Center Coalition, which is the single largest platform for all aspects around decarbonization of data centers in India. So it comprises key stakeholders from data center industry as well as the renewable energy and industry, advocating for policies and region regulations in both central and state level for promoting green data centers across the country. It also includes solar PV, energy storage, wind energy, green hydrogen industries, which comprises leading international, national, regional companies. So over here we can see a spotted deer quenching its thirst in the Mudumalai Tiger Reserve in the Nilgiris district of Tamil Nadu amid the rising temperature. So if we talk about the Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, it is located in the Nilgiris district of Tamil Nadu and it is spread over 321 square kilometers at the tri-junction of three states. So it is located in the tri-junction of Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and it lies in the northeastern and northwestern slopes of the Nilgiri Hills, which is part of the Western Ghats. And it is part of the Nilgiris Biosphere Reserve, which is also the first biosphere reserve in India, and it has a common boundary with Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary on the west and Bandipur Tiger Reserve on the north, Nilgiri North Division on south and east, and the Gudulur Forest Division on the southwest. So when we talk about Mudumalai, the name basically means the ancient hill range, since the range is as old as 65 million years when the Western Ghats were formed. So this is what the Tiger Reserve is also named after. And when we talk about the terrain, that is undulating with the elevation ranging from 960 meters to 1266 meters, and a variety of habitats ranging from tropical evergreen forest, moist deciduous forest, moist teak forest, dry teak forest, secondary grasslands, and swamps. They are found over here. And when we talk about the flora, so it has tall grasses, which are commonly referred to as the elephant grass, bamboo of the giant variety, even valuable timber species like teak and rosewood. And fauna includes tiger, elephants, Indian gaur, panther, sambar, spotted deer, barking deer, mouse deer, hyena, among the others. And even the recent Oscar-winning film, which is Elephant Whisperers, that was also filmed at the Thepadago Elephant Camp, which is located inside the Tiger Reserve, Mulai Tiger Reserve. This article is about the Maritime Development Fund, which is quite so 25,000 crore, which would be invested in Bharat's maritime future. So this is to foster sustainability, innovation, and competitiveness. So shipbuilding for industrial growth and employment generation. RBI cuts to the chase. So this is also regarding the repo cut. So to target the inflation target and growth, inflation dynamics, it opens a policy space for the MPC to support growth. And even central bank, it remains committed to providing a sufficient liquidity to the financial system, including short-term and long-term measures, and even the regulation, including project finance rules, to not be implemented till March 2026. So excessive and disruptive volatility rather than targeting any specific exchange rate level of bank and highlighting risk from excessive volatility, global financial markets, uncertainty in global trade policies and adverse weather events. And given the uncertain global environment, this cut, along with decent tax relief to individuals, it should help a rebound in economic activities, forward contracts, and government security, which will be introduced to help the long-term investors, such as insurance fund, manage their risk, interest rate risk across the interest rate cycle as well. Trump Modi to discuss tariffs. So this article is mainly about our Honorable Prime Minister who will be visiting US on February 12th and 13th. And what will the discussion revolve around? That will be mostly around the delegation level talks, such as discussions on investment, energy, and defense. And India would ask for better treatment for Indians which are being deported from US from the illegal donkey routes, and even removal orders passed against 487 Indians in the US, and the advanced modular reactor discussion with US France to also speed up with the visit. Small saving rates may be reduced from next fiscal. So the center, it may also lower the interest rate and smaller saving schemes from next financial year, and women who deposit up to rupees 2 lakh till March 2025 would continue to get 7.5% interest for the next 2 years, unlike other schemes which will be revised, and even the interest rate in smaller saving schemes are reset each quarter as per a formula linked to yields on government securities of similar maturities. So this article is regarding government crediting rupee 1,000 crore guarantee fund to boost pledge financing by banks to smaller farmers, and of 1 lakh warehouse, only 8,000 are registered with the WDRA. So the target is to high registrations of 40,000 warehouses in the next few years and increasing the post-harvest lending to rupees 5.5 lakh crore in the next 10 years from the current 3,000. 3,962 crore in financial year 24. India's installed solar capacity reaches 100 gigawatt. So NSCFI role is important over here. And initiatives such as solar panels, solar parks, and rooftops. So solar projects have brought about revolutionary changes, and India, it has successfully achieved the target of 100 gigawatt of solar energy production And the country's solar power capacity increased drastically over the past decade. So even the 64.67 gigawatt hybrid and round the clock is under implementation and tender, bringing the grand total of solar hybrid projects to 296.59 gigawatt. And when we talk about leading states in this field, so we have Rajasthan, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh being the top performing states, and they contribute to India's total utility scale solar installation. Even the countries currently imports 25% of its modular requirement, as much as 80% of its requirements of solar scales, particularly from China. And the country now, it basically envisages to achieve a module production capacity of 100 gigawatt by 2030. Samsung workers strike enters third day. So this is regarding the Samsung workers strike, which is the second significant labor dispute in less than 6 months at a plant, and how the company has deployed contact workers to fill the gap, and factory employs around 1,800 workers and around 500 workers. So they've been seen by boycotting work and sitting inside the facility and refusing to budge. So over here we can talk about the labor rights, or what rights do the people working in private companies have, and what are the reasons that are mainly facing problems regarding this. Then we have the last article for today, daily re-volatility, not that important. So on the recent rupee volatility against the US dollar, the central bank should not really be looking at day-to-day volatility, and it should focus more on the long-term rate. So the primary objective is not to say that the other objective is not important. Inflation, price stability, keeping in view of the growth objective. And we're basically talking about aligning inflation with the target that has been given to us, by the same time supporting growth, and having regulatory measures which were taken when certain amount of outflow growth was seen in few segments. And even the RBI is thinking of cryptocurrencies, which has been articulated very clearly. So there is no change in that thinking. So basically talking about long-term policies or long-term changes instead of focusing on the day-to-day of volatility of the rupee against the US dollar. This is what the article is mainly highlighting. And this is it for today. Thank you everyone for joining.